Hello everyone, mabuhay og madayaw. This is Gwen Bentayao and I will be reporting about a strategic information system. Inc-
Included in this topic are the fundamentals of strategic information system, the competitive forces strategies, the value chain, and the influence of information technology on organizational goals, and the use of information systems to organization value. Before we dig into those different concepts that constitute strategic information system, let us first define what is a strategic information system. By the definition, it is actually an information system implemented by a business firm to gain a competitive advantage over its rivals. This system aims to improve revenue growth, profitability, or productivity, ultimately leading to higher stock market valuations. And it actually helps the company to do better. To better understand what is a strategic information system, let us try to look on a framework that defines clearly how information system is helpful in business solutions. Management, organization, and technology, as shown in this slide, are all important factors of information system that increases business solutions. Like for example, where a school implements a unique online platform that offers personalized learning path and real-time feedback. Of course, attracting more students than competing schools with standard online resources only. This platform, where we use LMS or the learning management system, is actually an example of a strategic information system. Now, now let's proceed to the first subtopic we have for this discussion, which is the fundamentals of strategic information system. Here, we're going to dig into the definition of organization. What are the features of organization relevant to information system? And what is the impact of information system on the organization itself? So let's define first what is organization. In a technical view, we say that organization is a stable, formal, social structure taking resources from the environment and processing them into outputs, including capitals and labors as inputs and products and services as outputs. For example, a school can be technically viewed as an organization taking in resources like funding, teachers, where is the labor, and student is the input, and transforming them through education into graduates, which is what we consider as the outputs. In the behavioral view, organization is actually a definition of a collection of rights, privileges, obligations, and responsibilities that are balanced over time through conflict and resolution. In a school example, the behavioral view of school considers the relationship and understanding between teachers, students, administrators, and parents regarding rules, expectations, and responsibilities which evolve over time. Here are now the features of organizations relevant to the use of information system. The first one is bureaucracies. It is defined or characterized by a clear division of labor. There is a hierarchy of authority, an impartial decision making based on abstract rules, promotion based on technical qualifications, and the principles of efficiency. For example, in a school where it operates as bureaucracy with principal having department heads, teachers, and staff, each with different specific roles and responsibility. And usually, decisions regarding curriculum or student discipline followed or follows an established rules. Second features of organization relevant to the use of information system is the routines and the business's processes. Standard operating procedures are developed for expected situations. Business process are collections of this routine. New information systems often require changes in this routine and processes. For example, attendance tracking, grading assignments, and students registration are examples of established routines and business processes in school. However, implementing a new student information system might require changes in how these processes are carried out. It is usually done in using traditional way of doing those attendance tracking, grading through a more sophisticated use of technology. Another feature of organization that is also relevant to the use of information system is the organizational politics. This refers actually to the struggle for resources, competition, and conflict that naturally occur within an organization. Hence, political resistance to new information system is common. A good example would be when there is a new implemented learning management system, which may face resistance from teachers who prefer their existing methods, or maybe the fear of increased workload, leading to political dynamics within the school. Next is the organizational culture. This encompasses the bedrock assumptions that define an organization, goals, and product, often rarely announced or discussed. It can be a powerful restraint on technological changes. Sometimes, a school with a long-standing tradition in person teaching might have a culture that resists a rapid shift to online learning platforms, just like when we experienced the COVID-19 pandemic. There was still a resistance, even if it was technologically feasible. The last one is the organizational structure. It actually differs to entrepreneurial, machine, bureaucracy, divisionalized, professional, and advocacy. And these factors influence the kind of information system they might use and the problems they might encounter with them. A good example would be a big school might try to use, which is more entrepreneurial, might try to adopt more flexible cloud-based system, while a small school may be more bureaucratic, might have a complex legacy system when it comes to integration of technology. These features actually explain the two-way relationship between organization and the use of information technology, such as, for example, in the school organization. So as you can see in this diagram, multiple mediating factors such as environment, the culture, the structure, the business processes, the politics, and even the management decisions may mediate the connection or the relationship between organization and information. Now, let's talk about the impact of information system on organization. It actually poses economic impacts and organizational and behavioral impacts. For economic impacts, we have changes in relative cost, reduced transaction cost, and reduced agency cost. For changes in relative cost, IT can be seen as factor of production that substitute for traditional capital and labor. As the cost of IT decreases, it can replace labor. For example, implementing online testing and automated grading systems can reduce the need for manual grading by teachers or administrative staff, substituting technology for labor in certain tasks. such as in our undergraduate here in Holy Cross during our midterm and final exams. We make use of the scanner machine to check easily the periodic exams of our students. This is an example of how IT um, change the relative cost of labor of teachers checking papers. The second, reducing transaction cost is another economic impact that IT brings to business entities. For example, um, a school district might use an online platform to easily solicit bids from multiple vendors for school supplies, reducing the time and effort, which is the transaction cost, compared to having a traditional paper-based procurement processes. Reduced agency cost is another economic impact as it can reduce the cost of acquiring and analyzing information, allowing, for example, academic heads to oversee a greater number of employees and thus reduce agency or coordination cost. For example, principals can use a centralized data analytics system to track student performance across multiple teachers and classes, gaining a broader overview and potentially reducing the need of extensive individual teacher supervision in some areas. Another example is the use of teacher evaluation in our student portal. Through our student portal, our administrations can directly see and make analysis of the teacher's performance to address or to improve learning performance. Now, let's talk about the other impact, which is through organization and behavioral. First is we have a flattened the organization. There is a post-industrial organization. There are organizational resistance to change and the impact of internet. Information technology can facilitate the flattening of hierarchies by broadening information distribution, empowering lower level employees, and increasing management efficiency, such as what we can see in this diagram. So when we use IT, those who are in the lower level are actually empowered, same as with those almost on the next level of organization. A good example of this is a school-wide internet providing teachers with direct access to student data and allowing them to collaborate on the curriculum development, empowering teachers to potentially reduce the need of multiple layers of administrative approval for certain initiatives. Because as we all know, teachers should be included in the crafting of curriculum or even in the curriculum development. Another organizational and behavioral impact is the post-industrial organization. In post-industrial societies, authorities increasingly relies on knowledge and competence rather than solely on formal positions, supporting the flatter, more decentralized organization where professional workers are more self-managing and, of course, empowered. Example, in a school that values teacher expertise and collaboration, a shared online platform for curriculum resources and best practices allows teachers to take more ownership of their teaching methods, reflecting a post-industrial approach. Next is we have the organizational resistance to change. So as the picture depicts, there are four resistance to change. First is the people, the organizational structure, the information technology, and of course, the job task. Introducing a new electronic health record system for school nurses might be met with resistance from nurses accustomed to paper-based records, fearing a loss of autonomy or increased complexity. Not just in school nurses. Example would be those who are already boomers of technology. may um, the system or the information system can alter the way they teach and the way they manage their lessons, leading to a resistance in using technology. That's why there is a need to conduct an extensive training for them, or even for those who are all resistant to using information system. The impact of internet is another organizational and behavioral impact. The internet significantly increases the accessibility, storage, and distribution of information, dramatically lowering transactions and agency costs for organizations. Imagine, instead of printing papers, instead of having um, disseminating it in bulk of papers, everything can be downloaded and everything can be seen once a PDF is uploaded. Now, let's proceed to competitive forces strategies. Let's talk about the Porter's competitive forces model and the competitive forces strategies. So, in this competitive forces model by Porter, it's not just the traditional competitors that the firm, for example, the school, should look into. The new market entrants, the suppliers, the customers, the substitute product should also be put into consideration to have a competitive firm. For example, a private school, traditional competitors are other private schools in the area. New market entrants could be online learning platforms gaining popularity, gaining more enrollees. Substitute service might include homeschooling or specialized tutoring centers. Parents who are also customers can choose whether to send their children. Supplier include textbooks, publishers, and educational technology vendors, such as the LMS provider. Here are the competitive forces strategies. First is we have the low-cost leadership, the product differentiation, focus on market niche, and strengthening customer and supplier intimacy. Let's discuss further the low-cost leadership. This strategy involves achieving the lowest operational cost and prices in the industry while maintaining a quality and service often enabled by information system. In a school environment, a large online charter school might achieve a low-cost leadership by using technology to automate many administrative tasks and deliver curriculum efficiently to a large number of students because of its accessibility. For product differentiation, this strategy focuses on using information system to enable new and unique products and services or to significantly enhance customer convenience in using existing offerings, such as a school might differentiate itself by offering a highly interactive online learning environment with personalized avatars and gamified lessons, setting it apart from school with the standard online platforms. Next, Now let's talk about the value chain and its influence on organizational goals. So you can see in this diagram, we have primary activities and support activities included in to have a firm value chain. This actually involves suppliers, the firm, the distributors, and lastly, the customers. Let's talk about the primary activities. Primary activities are activities that directly related to the production and distribution of the firm's product and services that create value for the customer. In a school setting, primary activities include the curriculum development, operations, delivering lessons, student enrollment. This would fall under the sales and marketing, the communication with parents, and of course the providing academic support, which is the service. For the support activities, these are activities that make the delivery of the primary activities possible and consist of organizational infrastructure like human resources, technology, and procurement. For school setting again, support activities include school administration, just like the infrastructure, teacher recruitment and training, which is part of the human resource, and maintaining IT systems and purchasing school supplies or the procurement. Now, by analyzing the value chain and the value web, organizations can identify specific points where IT can be leveraged to achieve organizational goals such as improving operational efficiency, enhancing product differentiation, strengthening customer relation, optimizing supply chain management, and reducing cost. The use of information system to add value to the organization. Information system can add value to the organization through various other strategies, like for example, synergies or collaborating with other operations um, so that they can act as a whole, lowering costs and generating profits. Second is the core competencies, developing or enhancing activities for which a firm is a world-class leader. For example, in the context of school, um, where it has a special education program, it can use its internal knowledge sharing to share its best practices, resources, and collaborative tools to ensure all other schools in the same area or in the same region benefit from this core competency and maintain high standard. The last one is through network-based strategies. Leveraging the power of networks through network economics, virtual company, and business ecosystems often is facilitated by the information technology. For example, for network economics, an online alumni network for a school becomes more valuable as more alumni join, fostering connections and potential donations. Virtual company model. A small, a small specialized online tutoring service might partner with curriculum developers and assessment providers through online platforms to offer a comprehensive educational package without having all capabilities in-house. And business ecosystem, in which a school might partner with local business for internships like and mentorship program using online platforms to coordinate these opportunities and create a supportive ecosystem for student career development. And this is actually the industry ecosystem. As emphasized earlier, it is not only the traditional competitors that the firm should consider. It should involve the market entrants, the suppliers, the customers, and the substitute products and services. It's like a school, it should not just involve competing with other schools, but making sure that these four factors is also evolving around its ecosystem. And that would be all for my report. Thank you so much for listening.